A very good morning, brothers and sisters. Friends, a very warm welcome to you. My wife and I always look forward to Sundays because it's on Sundays that we come together to renew our friendships, to strengthen our bonds in Christian love, to love and to cherish the brotherhood, and to exchange notes, what happened last week, to laugh together, to cry together, to encourage one another. I'm sure Wenfeng and Jun Joy here this morning will also share such sentiments. But I believe the most important motive is to come here to worship God. Worship God. Okay? Whatever intentions that we have, I mentioned earlier, they are good, noble intentions. But the primary purpose of us gathering, assembly on the first day of the week, is to worship God Almighty. Just as we endeavor to build our Christian bonds and Christian friendship, we should also not take worship lightly or take worship for granted. I mean, we should not lose sight of the true meaning of worship. So this morning I propose that we together take a relook, a revisit at what worship is all about. You know, people in every land worship. Man will worship someone or something. Someone has well said, no man is without a God, small g, God. I have never yet met an irreligious man, although I have met many who claim to be so. All men have gods, small g. Man is inherently and necessarily a worshipping being. If nothing else, he will worship a projection of himself. Every morning in the mirror. Mankind will then become his own God. The psalmist, before we go in there, worship, a little bit of the definition. Worship is worship, worthy of adoration, worthy of praise, worthy of homage. In fact, this is a better definition. Worship is an activity of the Spirit which is expressed through and accompanied by certain external acts, all of which are intended to please the being worshipped. The psalmist in Psalms 19 verse 1 mentions that the heaven declares the glory of God, and the firmament showeth his handiwork. When you look at, yesterday was August 15, according to the Chinese calendar. We were supposed to see the full moon. When you see the moon, and the stars, and the sun, and the galaxies, you cannot help but to acknowledge the glory of God. Because the firmament showed his handiwork. Romans chapter 1 verse 20 mentioned that the invisible things of him from the creation of the world are clearly seen, being understood by the things that are made, even his eternal power and Godhead, so that they are without excuse. Yes, when you look at the mountains and the rivers and the valleys and all the creations, all these are evidences of a creator. Many of us wear a watch. If I tell you this watch made of thousands of parts, they just accidentally come together and fit in together and tell me a correct time, and then it just happened just like that, you will not believe me. Because you would know, right? This watch evidence of a maker. Somebody has put all the pieces together, right? The watch, evidence of maker. And so is the creation. Creations will declare that there is a maker. It doesn't come by chance. Look at the way the moon revolves around the earth, and the earth revolves around the sun. And all other planets also revolve around the sun. And in right distance, not too near the sun, otherwise we will be scorched to death. Not too far away from the sun, otherwise we will also be frozen to death. Okay? And also in right directions, otherwise they will collide with one another. And that will be end of everything. Right? So, who put all this design together? All these are evidence of a maker, of a creator, of a designer who put all things in the right order. I always like to use the illustration of the coconut tree because it's so easily seen in our area. Okay? Coconut trees, the coconut palm tree are mostly seen in Southeast Asian countries. You know the coconut tree is a long branch, a long trunk, something like 1 to 2 feet in diameter. And it can grow up to 100 to 120 feet, something like a 4-story building or a 5-story building. And along the trunk, you don't see any branches, you don't see. But on top of the trunk, you find a crown of leaves, okay, feather-like leaves. And each of the leaves can be even something like 10 to 20 feet long, right? And mostly they grow near the coastal areas. The nearer to the sea shore, the better that it grows. And you notice that sea water is salty. Salty. But you will draw the water from the sea along the 20 feet trunk and end up in the coconut, the fruit. I mean, when you split the coconut fruit, you get the fluid, the juice, the coconut juice. And when you drink the coconut juice, is it salty or is it sweet? How come? When you draw salty water from the sea, and it end up so tasty, so sweet, so refreshing, especially in a hot day. Because the trunk is a great filtration plant made by the maker. From the salty water, it ends up as a sweet water. You tell me that it happens by chance? No, it only tells me of the Creator. Yes, nature tells us that there is a God. However, you can look at the coconut for 3 days and 3 nights, stare at it, look at it, and don't even sleep. But it still do not tell you what is the view of the maker. What is the thinking of the maker? Yes, nature tells us that there is a God. No doubt about it. You cannot deny it. But nature does not tell us how God is to be worshipped. Because in the book of Isaiah chapter 55, verses 8 to 9, it mentions that for my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither your ways my ways, saith the Lord. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than yours, and my thoughts than your thoughts. Isaiah chapter 55, verses 8 to 9. Yes, no matter how we look at nature, no matter how we look at creation, we will not know the thoughts of God unless the Creator God revealed it